I was looking like Cynthia from Rugrats. She goes, I'm 141, but I'm not the one. He has a daughter. Spitting on the cookie. Expectation versus reality. I'm the one who got kicked off the team. I have been playing America's Next Top Best Friend. He's walking around the dorm like this. Anybody wanna go home? You look a whole mess. You think I'm gonna go out this game without swinging after how dirty y'all did me? It's Dash Katz, aka 141 from Squid Game, The Challenge. I'm gonna do a really fun little show for y'all. Squid Game, spilling the ink. Ooh, so slippery. I am a reality TV super fan, and I always would love for my favorite reality stars to go through the journey from their perspective. Squid Game Spilling the Ink is completely filmed before I've seen any of the episodes. My journey in there was insane. There is more that went down than they're able to fit into a show. At the end of the day, there's 456 players. I fully went through a whole Harry Potter series. Something that I want y'all to know right off the bat is I don't come for anybody first. So if you see me coming for anybody on the show, just know that they came for me first. I send all the players nothing but love. Just because I'm telling my journey and my story doesn't mean I would want anybody who supports me sending any hate. Get your popcorn and get your wig glue because Squid Game Spilling the Ink is about to be a gag. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I was inspired by the queens of RuPaul's Drag Race, and they always come out with the most iconic shoots. I did the same thing for Squid Game The Challenge. Let's get into the tea. We are gonna be unpacking the trauma, the chaos of red light, green light. That was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done, physically, spiritually, and mentally, all at the same time. It was giving Titanic. It was giving Saw. And I'm a big fan of the Saw movie, so I'm just picturing that queen-ass doll looking like Jigsaw. Before the game, I'm 141. I ended up kikiing with 140, 142, and basically all the numbers up to 149. And it was all a bunch of iconic queens and this big hunky daddy. And we're all living for each other, and we're like, we're about to eat this competition up. And 140, she's like, we need to be in a final too. I'm from Jersey. You're from Jersey. I love straightforward players because that's how I play. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this, queen. Within the second or third round of this competition, my number one ally is laying on the floor, covered in blood, eliminated. I always wanted to freeze before the doll stopped singing. That way, I could get into a comfortable pose that I could hold for a long period of time. I made sure to get towards the front of the pack, but not all the way in the front. But all the way in the front, you're the guinea pig. If you're in the back, you're gonna have less time getting through the stampede of people. My number one dream has always been to compete on a social strategy show. That pressure, it was so overwhelming, and I was shaking just from the pressure, and I needed to stand still. Every single squib that popped off, I was like, this could be me at any moment. When I felt like I had nothing left, it was my angels that I channeled that got me through. Y'all are real ones. So my yoga teacher, I asked her for advice. Inhale and exhale through your nose. Pick one spot on the wall and stare at that spot on the wall and bend your knees. When I'm staring at the spot, I see this woman and she is straight up chilling with her hands in her pocket. I gotta copy her because she's absolutely eating. So for the first two green lights, I was really playing it, take it slow, take my time, make sure I was in a good pose. By the third green light, I was running like Usain Bolt. She's a runner, she's a track star. I knew I need to get across this line ASAP Rocky. I was just repeating affirmations in my head. You were not allowed to hop over the eliminated players. You gotta go around them. If you're eliminated, you have to go in fetal position. This player, they're literally sprawled out, eliminated on the ground in front of me, giving full starfish, giving 6'7". Like, it was giving full blockade / obstacle. Now, you know how hard this is, and you're gonna make it harder for the other players? I'm just gonna call her 457. I literally am like a ventriloquist. I'm like, 457, please get in fetal position. This lady literally is like the exorcist, and she goes, snaps her neck at me, giving exorcism of Emily Rose, and literally starts talking crap to me from the graveyard. She's like, if they had a problem, they would say something on the loudspeaker. Girl, now I have to run around all 6'7" of you? I was thinking, ooh, thank God that they're eliminated because they're a problem. One of my poses when I was almost at the finish line was the most gay pose I could have possibly made. I literally have my hip cocked out. I'm serving face. I think Tyra will be proud of this pose. I passed red light, green light. I think I was probably top 30. I'm someone who's often underestimated, and you'll hear how that comes into play later in my journey. I believe there was 258 red light, green light eliminees. At the end of the day, you took a risk, and anyone who succeeded, I'm looking at you like, damn, you're a badass. When I finally crossed that line, I just remember my friend Cecilia and I were jumping up and down, celebrating, and I was so proud of myself, and it was like relief and just emotion. I was so thankful for my angels for helping me get through that. That game was so difficult. Afterwards, I was looking like Cynthia from Rugrats. Then 002 was the person who was directly in front of me the whole time. So when he crossed the line, I knew I could do it. I said, hey, thank you so much. You kept me going. You kept me inspired, giving him his flowers that he rightfully deserved. That's when a certain player comes up and shushes me and starts talking to 002. I feel like if you watch the show, you'll be able to figure out who I'm talking about. He literally just goes shh and starts talking when I was in the middle of a conversation. And my neck's like, I'm almost serving like the starfish girl. I say, excuse me, don't shush me. And then he does it again. He goes shh. And I'm like, that's really rude. And then he says what he needs to say to 002 and walks away. And I turn to 002 and I say, you saw me just clock him? And he starts dying laughing, gives me a dab. He's a great guy. And I go, I'm 141, but I'm not the one. From that moment, I already knew, oh, this guy's here to be the villain of the season. So now we're gonna get into my general game strategy once we moved into the dorms. I had such a respect for every person who completed red light, green light, because I know the places I had to go to get through that. So not only that, but this is worldwide casting, which I think is something really special about our show. 198 of us moved into the dorm. I've been discarded and underestimated a lot in my life, so I wanted to make it a point to give everybody a chance. I thought that was very important, and I also felt like that was smart strategically. If the future games are anything like the first game, these numbers are gonna be cut by mass amounts. I want to make as many connections as possible, so then I have potential allies to work with going forward, no matter who goes home. A lot of people were just sticking to their cliques, and a lot of people were just giving sleep and beauty. I was working like Dolly Parton 9 to 5, trying to make as many social connections as humanly possible. When we were in the dorms, one of the twins, she had exposed to me that 20 of the big strong guys already had a 20-person alliance. They were trying to plan for tug of war to have 2 strong teams. And she's telling me 053 is the one trying to start this Meathead alliance. Not on my watch, as Judge Judy would say. So I am immediately going up to you, Hannah, Leanne, Danny, Figgy, letting them know we gotta get the girlies and the gays together. I was going around being like, 053 is trying to start this alpha male alliance. And mind you, I had no idea who 053 was. And it's very much giving Scooby-Doo. Once I eventually found out who 053 was, it was like, shh. You're 053? He's like not a big guy. And he says he didn't even do this. And he's like a very smart guy, definitely not a meathead. Love you, Rex. People were saying to me, Dash, everyone loves you, everyone loves you. So once I found out the twist, players are gonna be able to eliminate each other, my heart sank, because I'm like, oh no, I think that I've made myself a target by playing such a social game. Another player doing something similar was 200, Muddy. He was my Squid dad. He was funny because he was telling me to walk the runway for red light, green light. So I immediately loved him. And he also helped me in the dorm. He said, memorize the shapes of the cookies so we'll know which line to get in to get a good shape. I'm playing my dream out here, so if you're gonna help me, I'm gonna ride for you. There are so many players, I can be loyal to more than one person. He would call me son, I would call him dad. And I'm sure the gays are gonna love that because they love a daddy-son storyline. It's announced it's time for the first test, and a player has already been decided to be eliminated. I am so gooped, I'm so gagged, because I'm thinking I'm going home. So I'm already getting emotional because I'm like, I'm not ready to go. I'm living my dream. I'm having the time of my life in this dorm. The number starts going, boom, 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 2. Oh, I know I'm safe, but then I immediately look to my Squid dad. I'm just terrified for him. The number goes doom, 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 0. Oh no. And doom, 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 0. 200 eliminated. I lost it. I am full on Anne Hathaway and Les Mis right now. And now you took out my dad. That was one of the people I knew I could trust in the game. I had a full-on mental breakdown. I start talking to the camera. I'ma get whoever did this to my dad. He has a daughter. He has a daughter. It was very extra. Hopefully that's cut out. So I'm like bawling, crying. And Danny, who's one of my best friends in the game, comes up to me and starts supporting me. She's like, babe, maybe the person who did this was trying to help people like us. Muddy was a powerful social player. He could really keep that group of alpha males together. I don't think Muddy was in the group with the alpha males. And Danny's like, well, that's not what I heard. I could feel the guilt from Danny. I think Danny was kind of trying to protect me in that moment and let me know without specifically telling me. But I clocked it. Danny, I see you, girl. I went from being like, I'ma get those people to, okay, queen, work. As soon as I realized, oh, my friend took out my dad. I believe I'm the only player in the whole competition that knew that it was Kyle and Danny that took out Muddy. And I held that information close to my chest. As a Survivor superfan, I immediately recognized Figgy. We were like this. She was in her Kelly Wentworth era. We're there to play. Figgy actually revealed to me she had found a clue. It was gonna be Dalgona cookies. In preparation, my iconic mom, she tried to bake the cookies. We were trying to do it that way, but eventually I just ordered a bunch from Etsy. I was practicing those cookies every day. And the gag is, I was absolutely terrible. I only ever passed the triangle twice and the circle once. And I probably went through like 30 cookies. When it came to deciding the cookies, this is do or die for me. When we get in the white room, it was literally just 1, 2, 3, and 4. So originally we're standing in line 4. James tells us 4 is a really unlucky number in Korea. That's all I needed to hear. Red was the color of the triangle in the actual Squid game. Red was the first one on the map for the clue that Figgy had found. So I'm thinking line 1 is gonna be the triangle. Because of my hours and hours of watching How to Win Squid Game footage, never go at the front of the line. You're a guinea pig. You always wanna see what happens to the people at the front, so then you can make the best strategic move from there. Figgy and I got right in the middle of the line. The first players go in, and that's when you see the gag of the season. Like, I'm full on giving BB Zahara Benet. This is the gag of the season. When they show the door that lined up with line 1 was actually the circle. I'm okay with circle. I have a chance to survive this. The 4 players that are in the room have to unanimously decide on a shape for our line. They did not come to a decision, and all 4 of them, their squibs, boom, explode, covered in blood, eliminated. Oh my God, the room is chaos. We were all gagged. Boom, we go into strategic mode. My move is to go to the front of my line and make sure the people at the front of my line 1 know that no matter what, you do not press the umbrella, because the umbrella is a death sentence.
Say we gotta make it fair, we're all gonna die. It's the only way, or they're all gonna die.
We gotta preach fairness. If you preach fairness and we all just go with the line that we lined up with, that works great for me, because then I got circle. Of course, if I was in line 4, lined up with the umbrella, I would not be preaching fairness. I'm going up to Kevin, who's at the front of the line. I'm like, you are strong, you got this. Like, trust me, the umbrella is a death sentence. And I was so proud of Kevin because he stood strong. Even though my friend DeAndre was trying to get him to go to the umbrella, he didn't do it. And he basically ended up sacrificing himself for our line.
Stand your ground, Kevin.
I'm forever grateful for Kevin. And Figgy started crying because we love Kevin, and it was sad. Next up in the front of my line is Mark. I'm like, Mark, you're from Chicago. You are a king. Preach fairness. You can do it. Mark absolutely ate his part. Thank God for Spencer pressing that umbrella. Shout out to you, Spencer, because you saved my ass. We got the circle. I'm so relieved, but I'm still terrified because I know how bad I am with this. When I I'm nervous, my hands get really shaky. I've got to give it my all. All the circles are gonna be doing the cookie together. We're celebrating King Mark. He is the king of the circles. I know from my practice, because I had failed the cookie so many times, I need to take my time. I have to be precious with this. I gotta use a lot of spit. I am full on giving Pumpkin from Flavor of Love, spitting on the cookie. I'm making love to this cookie. I'm giving only fans, honestly. With time, I'm hearing this player pass, this player pass, this player eliminated. I'm still licking and spitting. I'm taking so much time. I'm being so precious with it. I look up at the clock and there's about 1 minute left and my cookie is still completely intact. And it's literally just me, the eliminated players covered in blood, and the guards circling around me. No pressure or anything. I am shaking in my boots. My hands are twerking. I just have to go for it. And I go and I hear a massive crack. I'm like, oh no. I look down. The outside of the cookie, I'm gonna call it the donut. 1/3 of the donut, boom, is popped out. So I'm still in it, baby. And then I look up at the clock, there's about 30 seconds left. Hands shaking. I'm having a full-on panic attack. It's giving full theater, mama. And I'm going, boom, another crack. I'm like, oh my God. Another third of the donut pops up. And I'm saying to myself, I will win. I'm doing my affirmations, trying to breathe, but it's hard because I'm having a full panic attack. There's literally 10 seconds left. Boom, 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 boom. The final one pops up. I did it. I lift it up. There's literally 3, 2, 1. I'm looking up petrified with the cookie at the guard. And then I just hear over the loudspeaker, 1, 4,
Player
1.
141.
Pass. Oh my God, the relief I felt. I'm like full on having an emotional moment. Like I was so relieved. I was so proud of myself. I did the cookie. It was kind of giving the lead of the Squid Game where he holds up the umbrella shaking with 1 second left. But I had the circle. Kind of embarrassing, but kind of iconic. It's fully giving expectation versus reality. I just remember coming back to the dorm and just banging open the door and going, where's my baddies at? And everyone's screaming. I jump into Chad's arms. He lifts me up and it's just a celebration. It was such a fun moment. It was so cute too. Leanne and Figgy are coming up to me like, I thought you were eliminated. Let's talk about the phone. So this day was a pretty emotional day for me. I was very drained at this point. So I was just gonna go up in my bed and I was having a kiki with player B and Sam, basically having therapy. At any point in the Squid Game, the challenge, spilling the ink, if it's somebody who I'm not comfortable saying their name, I'm just gonna refer to them as either player A, B, C, or D. Player B, I was so excited to be their friend after this because we're both queer and we're both in New York. And it was just like a really beautiful friendship that I was really excited about. Sam had made me feel so seen. Sam has been through so much in his life and he is honestly an angel. I love him. And he was telling me, you are killing it in here. There are gonna be queer people out there that see you and know they can do it. It made me so happy. And that was during all the phone stuff. And I knew I am not touching that phone. Eventually, something bad is gonna be on the other end of this. Player 198 is definitely a controversial figure amongst the cast. And he almost handed the phone to one of my best allies, Player B. I went up and I said, not my sister.
Just pick it up.
Darius, no!
Don't! Darius!
No!
It's not that dude. I'm gone. You have to pick it up in 2 minutes or no one gets it.
The biggest thing that plays a role into my overarching story from this day, a lot of people were strategizing for tug of war at this point. I didn't really think that they would do tug of war. What, are you gonna have all the big brolic men just go through and eliminate all the women and the twinks? Like, I don't know. That doesn't sound like fair to me or like good TV. So I was doubtful, but just in case, Player B is a big, strong guy. Because of my planning and how to win Squid Game videos, I knew ways to cheat tug of war. And all you really need is a really strong anchor. So I said, Player B, you would be a perfect anchor. And Player B promised me we're gonna be on the tug of war team together. And Player B had a very strong alliance, 4 of them. And so they're like, we can all be on a team. We can hopefully recruit Sam. We can get a really strong team for tug of war. So I'm ready. I'm excited. And you will not believe the fallout from this. I'm now locked in on a team with player B, who was originally one of my best friends in the competition, and I had helped twice in the competition. Number one, sharing the clue that Figgy had shared with me to help when it came to Dalgona Cookie. Two, I had pulled him away from the phone when 198 almost eliminated him. He's also been there for me on an emotional level. That morning before the game that we think is tug of war, potentially, a lot of people were convinced. I wasn't. I see player B talking to player C. I ask player B, I'm like, hey, what was player C saying? It looked like they were spilling tea. And then he's like, oh, I haven't talked to him. And I'm like, what? I just saw you talk to him. And he's like, if we're gonna be in an alliance, like you can't be questioning me. I'm like, this is a game that is filled with paranoia. It's okay to question each other and we can affirm each other. And then he's like, you need to go convince them that you deserve to be on the team. Which I'm like, what? From my perspective, I was already on this team. I swallow my pride, I go up to the team, I'm like, hey, just so y'all know, I've danced my whole life, I have a very strong core, very strong legs, I will bring morale to the team, and I have really good strategies to win tug of war. I can bring a lot to this team. And player D is like, hell yeah, you're on it, daps me up. Player C is like, hell yeah, you're on it, daps me up. Player A is like, girl, I thought we already were on the team. And I'm like, yeah, me too, okay, just making sure. So we're all on the team together, right? Then, right before entering the white room, player B tells me, some of them don't want you on the team. These people thought I was weak, which is very hurtful to me because I'm a very strong person. I have a lot to bring to the team. I feel like my whole life as a queer person, as a fabulous person, people tend to underestimate me. They tend to discredit me. And it hurt coming from people who I genuinely thought were my friends. I'm like, who? Because I'm confused. We all were just kikiing and celebrating and like hyping each other up. And he's like, I'm not telling you. This is a social strategy game. I need to know who is talking about me behind my back, who is lying to my face, telling me they want me on the team, and then behind my back saying they don't. I know I'm not a big person. I'm a skinny legend. What can I say? Just be honest with me. Like, hey, we're looking for bigger people. We love you, but go find another team. That would have been cool. But what's not cool with me is bold-faced lying to me for literally no reason. It just felt very unnecessary and honestly mean. Who can't I trust? Player B won't tell me who. I'm really upset. I'm like spiraling. We get into the white room and they're telling us to line up and two teams are gonna have one less player, but they didn't announce the game name. So I'm thinking it's not tug of war because in the previous two games, they had mentioned what game it was gonna be. I give player B one more chance. Who doesn't want me on the team? And he's like, girl, this is not the time for this. Like, we gotta worry about this, not that. But for me, these games are taking out people. They're dropping like flies. Who knows if you're gonna be here? If I'm gonna be here. I know that. Because I'm not losing these damn games. I need this information so I know who I can't trust going forward that I was like basically catfished by thinking I could trust them. In that moment, I'm trying to figure out what to do. I say, Sam, people don't want me on this team. And Sam's like, babe, what? Like, come. And he's so sweet. He reaches out his hand for me. But the thing was, in that moment, as sweet as Sam was and as comforting as he was, I had to make a decision. Do I want to force myself on a team with people that I know some of them don't value me as a teammate? Or do I want to take my game into my own hands and choose another line? I just go to the first open line that hasn't openly rejected me, basically. A bunch of skinny legends and women start lining up behind me. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, if it's tug of war, we're screwed. I don't think it's tug of war. And number two, I am not going to discard of these people just like how I was discarded. Instead, I'm gonna believe in them. We're officially team underdog, and I know that this team is smart and they are fighters and we're underestimated. A lot of the people in my line had also been betrayed by their allies and kicked off the team or got screwed over in some way. We were like the rejects. But I'm choosing to turn that around and be like, we're the underdogs, baby. Let's get this.
I'll go, don't worry, it's fine.
Bro, we got this. We got this.
You think so, yeah?
Yeah.
Literally, people did not want to be on our team. Like, it was such a feeling of rejection and betrayal because it's like, where are all my allies? Like, we could all be eliminated if we don't get the number of players. Who knows what'll happen? Thank God, shout out to Phil, shout out to Scott, because at the last second, they hopped over to our line, giving us enough players, and we were able to compete. A lot of my team was feeling very defeated. They were thinking it's tug of war. I don't think it's tug of war. We have a smart team. If it's anything with brains, I'm feeling real good. They pick out who we're playing, and it's against the people that just had kicked me off their team. Not only that, but some of my best allies are on that team. Felicia, Leanne, Trey, Sam, and Lucia. That's 5 of my remaining absolute best allies. Now I'm playing against them and a whole bunch of people that just did me dirty. So it's very emotional. We walk in, it is Warship. We have a chance here. I see the boats and there's a space for players in each boat. I don't want to be one of those players in the boat because I'm thinking if they shoot the missile and it hits me in the boat, I'm eliminated. So when they say it's time for a captain and a co-captain, of course Scott, who's a literal escape room designer, is going to be the captain. But when he asks for a co-captain, I volunteer and I'm pitching myself like, oh yeah, I play this game all the time. But also my friend Tyler volunteered. I had been slutting it up as far as my social game, but Scott, we hadn't really formed a strong bond at that point. So he chooses Tyler. So I'm like, uh-oh. And then I ask him, can I please be in the big boat? The small boat with 2 people, that'll be really easy to sink. Then we hear the rest of the rules. If your team loses the warship, the captain and the co-captain will be eliminated. All you need to do as a person in a boat is not sink. When we were placing our boats, I started stomping all over the board. I am making noise so that the other team cannot hear where we're placing our ships. And a lot of my teammates are doing it too. Literally, I'm like dancing. I am like giving it all, giving Blackpink, boop and a boop. Like, secondly, I was trying to keep my team quiet, which did not work because I was worried if we're talking to the captain, telling them what to do, we might be discovered. My team is coughing, sniffling. I'm like, shh, shh. The captain and the co-captain keep asking us what to do. And I'm like, baby girl, y'all said you got this. Why are you looking at us? We have this whole underdog storyline. My team gets absolutely massacred. I adore each and every person that was sung. With that being said, my boat stayed afloat. I passed the game. So if I had been chosen for co-captain, my game would have been over then. And thank you, Scott, for not choosing me. I get back to the dorm and I'm really hurt by people that I thought were my friends and allies. I don't want anybody sending hate to anybody. I wish everyone the best, but I still feel like it's important for me to share my story. During that day, I had told 3 people and asked them who didn't want me on the team because I was trying to get to the bottom of it of who I couldn't trust. All of them were like, well, what are you talking about? And I said, well, player B told me that I'm not wanted on the team. They're like, I don't know what they're talking about. So I'm super confused at this point. Then my queen Ashley calls me over to where player A and B are. Ashley did that because they were talking smack about me. And Ashley's like, if you want to talk about my baby, come say it to their face. And Ashley is just such a real one for that. I love you, Ashley. It's just immediately really weird between me and player B. So I'm like, let's go talk. I said, when you told me how they didn't want me on the team, he's like, you are fake, you are messy, I never said that. Basically what had happened that I didn't realize was the people that I'd asked had then confronted player B about this, and player B then felt betrayed by me. I was just trying to get to the bottom of it. If you had just communicated this to me, we could have been on the same page. And he's like, you're gonna cry right now, aren't you? Which really hurt me because I had been crying to him the day before, opening up about past traumas. I'm really proud of myself because I really remain grounded. And I just go, I'm not. And he's like, you thought we were best friends, but really I've been best friends with player A, C, and D this whole time. You just confirmed your alliance to me. Definitely gonna take note of that. What the hell? I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, I'm the one who got kicked off the team. And then he starts laughing. He's like, girl, I'm sorry. And it was like such a 180, but I'm just relieved because I'm like, I don't need people targeting me in this game. This win is important to me, not only because I'm a super fan, but I'm also trying to donate $1 million to queer and trans homeless youth. Everyone deserves a roof over their head. The fact that people's families would betray them just by being themselves, that makes me sick. I had a very traumatic coming out. If I didn't have my family's support, I don't know where I would be. So my heart goes out to every trans and queer person that is not accepted by their families. So I'm like, I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have said your name. We're saying we're good. We both apologized. I feel like I gave him the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, this is a pressure cooker. I know that he was trying to protect me in a sense by telling me that they didn't want me on the team. He didn't want me to be set up to be embarrassed in the white room. I'm gonna set the scene for y'all. It's player A, B, and C, Ashley, and Sam, and I. So player A and C admit to my face, we lied to you. We didn't want you on the team. And they're like, we all have our strengths. And I go, and clearly y'all's isn't keeping it 100, which was such a clog. Ooh, I gagged them. They're basically implying that I'm weak. And Sam goes, so why is he weak? And I was just living, I'm like, yes, that is my godmother. Like now they're admitting that yes, they didn't want me on the team. And then that whole bathroom blow up that had just happened was because he was saying that he never said that when he did. I just basically say, I would have just appreciated you keeping it real with me and letting me know like, hey, we're looking for bigger people. So that night I'm completely devastated. It's extremely hard for me to get to sleep. Figgy is out at this point. My best friend is out. Even though I still had people like Ashley and Felicia and Sam and Leanne, I still felt alone. Jada gave me a really nice heart-to-heart before I try and go to bed. And then we have King Andy. I love Andy. He really helped me when it came to the circle. Snoring boots. I move beds in the middle of the night. And Figgy taught me about you gotta be on the top bunk because then you can see who's with who. And that's why I wore glasses in the game, because then I could see far away better. So I go to the next available top bed. I ended up directly on top of player A and B's beds. So in the morning, I can hear them laughing about me behind my back and what had happened the day prior. I'm playing dead and spying, and that's when player D, who had never done anything, he was the one person who had never done anything to me in this alliance, shushes them. Then that confirmed to me, okay, what player B said to me about their 4-person alliance is a fact. This was a shift in my game. Up to this point, I had been playing America's Next Top Best Friend. I was being genuine with everybody, and I felt like they were being genuine with me. But after being betrayed by people that I had actively helped and protected in the game, I became America's Next Top Savage. That is when the true gamer in me, the superfan, realized, baby, this is not Barney and Friends. This is the Squid Game. You need to wake up and you need to go into savage mode. So that's exactly what I did. When I'm feeling most vulnerable and alone in this game, now there's a house vote. So I'm immediately shitting bricks because I feel like an easy target at this point. I got into drama the day before. I just felt like I didn't have a home. And even though there are players that have my back, I still felt that way because of how I've been treated. I went into Sandra Diaz Twine mode, who is my favorite Survivor player. Anybody but me. I made sure to hit every single alliance and let them know that I was not after them and I was not gonna be voting them. And I would appreciate that same respect in return.
We need to vote together. You can't be voting a random bitch.
I did hear player C's name floating around a lot in the dorm that day. I may have been watering those flowers, but I wasn't gonna push too hard because I more was just trying to survive the vote. It was successful. I did not get one vote. Let's get into the actual vote. The first 3 players put up Dr. V, Lorenzo, and Andy. I didn't want any 3 of them going home. Dr. V and I had a good relationship. Andy and I had a good relationship. Leanne, one of my closest allies, had voted Lorenzo, and I had no idea that that's who she was gonna vote. Lorenzo, finally that day, started working with me. Lucia had helped with that, and we also had the same targets in mind. I didn't want Lorenzo going because he's a threat, he's a power player, but now he's on my side. Dr. V puts up the person who had put him up. And that was one of the people who had lied directly to my face and laughed at me behind my back.
This is crazy.
The thing about this is if you're the first person to vote somebody new, you literally expose your vote. And that is a huge disadvantage in this game. You are guaranteeing somebody is gonna be coming for you. My number one target was player C, but no one had nominated him. And I was so late in the line. As you can see, I'm player 65 out of 73. So I had to vote my most optimal move out of the options available.
I started planting seeds to you, Hannah, and Preston. I'm like, they lied to my face. I don't want to waste this opportunity. I'm not going to play it scared.
That's so savage.
This player has already proven to be willing to lie to my face.
Which is why I had no problem lying about my vote in order to protect my game later in this episode.
Player A and B are so close to the voting stand, I had to have the voodoo, just like Judy J. I'm proud of myself for making the move. I'm a game player and I'm here to play, and that's exactly what I did. Why I told somebody about who I voted, Lucia was my number one ally from the beginning. And when she started doubting me because I was such a social player, then it became Figgy. But Figgy's eliminated at this point. I always had her back no matter what, but I just needed her to know that. Lorenzo and Lucia were best friends, and I had been comforting Lucia because she was very upset after Lorenzo went home. Because I was also close with Leanne, Lucia came up to me really upset. She's like, did you know that Lorenzo was going? And I didn't. I trusted in Lucia and I told her, I voted for player A. You know they did me dirty. I would not have done that to you and voted out your best friend. Plus, Lorenzo started working with me that day. That was a big risk to tell Lucia that. I was trying to solidify our trust and prove to her, finally, you can trust me.
This is a conversation with my friends and allies, Lucia, Rochelle, Rose, and Amber. All iconic queens, by the way. They were all devastated over Lorenzo's elimination. I'm explaining to them how we could have possibly saved Lorenzo in the House vote. When Lorenzo nominated Leanne, it split votes between Leanne and player A. Since Lorenzo was the eliminee with the fewest votes, if we had all voted together for player A, our votes could have potentially saved Lorenzo. I was also trusting my allies with the information of how player A's alliance had betrayed me.
There was no way I was putting my vote on Leanne. Leanne, out of the nominees that were up there, had my back the most since day one. That was my Squid mother, just like how Muddy was my Squid father. At the end of the day, Lucia let people get in her head, and she did leak this information. I still love her. We still FaceTime. It was a game mistake, and I completely forgive her. She has apologized for this. I do not blame Lucia for what is to come.
Since the airing of the show, Lucia has publicly defended me and helped me fill in the missing context. This means way more to me than a mistake in a game ever could. Love you, Lucia.
I thought that another game was coming. Now I was gonna play more aggressively and start to plant seeds against this alliance who had betrayed me and mistreated me. I let Kyle know when I was super close with player B, they had confided in me not to trust Aurora's alliance, which Kyle was also in, and that they had tried to recruit player A and B. So I gave this information to Kyle, formed a final two with Melissa, the youngest contestant. We were the Foxes. And so many people were so sweet to me because it had gotten around that I had been mistreated. Shout out Dan and Mai specifically. I had a bunch of allies, so I'm feeling good. And I'm like a little slutty little farmer planting my seeds all over the dorm. They completely gagged me because it was another test, and this time it's Jack in the Box. They need 5 volunteers. Player C is one of the volunteers. By the time I'm thinking in my head, do I want to volunteer? There's 70 players left, and I'm feeling in a really good place with 65 of them. When you take big risks in this game, it usually doesn't work out in your favor. Look at the people at the front of the cookie line. As I'm processing this, if I want to go up, because player C's volunteered, 4 other volunteers have already raised their hand. So player C gets up there. He had been staring at me like he hated me. Done nothing to this man. He lied to me. He had made himself a target. His number was floating around a lot the day before. What if it's leaked to player C that I've been spreading their alliance? So I'm terrified. He opens the box and he gets to eliminate 2 players. In my gut, this is not good. While player C is deciding who he's gonna eliminate, he's walking around the dorm like this. Anybody wanna go home? Anybody wanna go home? Anybody wanna... Like, girl, you look a whole mess. And he says, the first player I'm eliminated is someone I've never spoken to. He eliminates Amber, who's a queen. I love Amber. That was so sad. He's saying that they never spoke. The math ain't mathing there. To this day, because we have a group chat of all the people that made it in the dorms, he still doesn't know her name. How are you not going to know the name of the player that you took away the opportunity to get $4.56 million from? That is so whack to me. And he says the second player I'm eliminating is someone who's spreading malicious lies around this dorm. I know you're not talking about me, boo. What lies am I spreading about you? I did lie to player A's face because she asked me if I voted for her. And of course I'm not going to tell her that I voted for her because that's just going to make me even bigger target for her than I already was. I had only ever lied or came after people that had lied to me or betrayed me first. As far as player C, I never lied to him. If you're referring to your alliance, that's not a lie. Player B's already confirmed it. So where is the lie? I'm like Dora the Explorer. Can you find the lie? If you're gonna eliminate me, give me some respect on my name, that I'm a strong strategic player, that I'm a strong social player. Admit that a player like me, someone who's feminine and queer, I have you shaking in your boots. On one hand, it was a good move because I was after him. He was my number one target. I would have way more respect for him eliminating me if he could just own that he was threatened by me as a game player. But instead, he's trying to make up all this bullshit and dog my name out. It's weird. It's giving full hater. And some people, when you shine bright, are not gonna like your light. I'm used to it. It's been my whole life.
Player C was also allegedly blaming me for people knowing that he was vocally supporting a problematic political figure. This is very unfair because many people were talking about this, and he was allegedly telling people this information himself. Why is he blaming me for this? If he wants to be mad, he should probably be yelling at a mirror.
It was hard for me to process because this has been a lifelong dream. And he's about to say the second player who he's gonna eliminate. I have to take destiny into my own hands at this point. I step forward and I say, player C. But I say his name, of course. What I was gonna say in this moment was, you have lied to my face in this game. I have never lied to you. I don't know what you're talking about right now, but if you spare me right now in front of everybody, I will never come after you in this game. And I would not have come after him unless obviously it came down to a decision between him and one of my close allies. However, it's the Squid Game. It's a savage game. It wasn't my time to speak. The loudspeaker says, eliminate now. And he looks at me with hatred in his face. 1, 4, 1. You think I'm gonna go out this game without swinging after how dirty y'all did me? Not on my watch. So I turn to the dorm. I say, nothing that I said was a lie. There is a 4-person alliance between, and I start listing out their numbers like it's a damn phone book. Then I say, I was treated like shit, I stood up for myself, and I'm proud. And a bunch of my friends come running to hug me. The guard escorts me out as I look up and I just go, I love you, Squid Game. Then Kyle gets the box, and partially because of the information I'd given him earlier, he takes out player B. Instant karma. And I wish him well. I'm proud of myself. I don't regret blowing up their game at all. Everyone who did me dirty either got eliminated when I did, or the episode following. I'm a Taurus, I'm loyal, I would have rode with those people, but instead you did me dirty, and look what karma did. Of course, not all of my story is gonna be shown, but I hope this provides context to why I made the moves that I did. I can leave with my head held high because my journey was one of playing a social game, making a whole bunch of friends, playing with my heart, being betrayed and underestimated, and then standing up for myself. I didn't win the money, but I know a good person will. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Squid Game Spilling the Ink.
Everything I have said is a lie. There is a 4-person alliance, 183, 182, 179, 176.
They crunchy, man. Riding like a cowgirl, I'm a country fan. Ain't talking medicine, but I made a morphine. Ever since I put the cookie on quarantine. Like a